We know Good Friday. We know Easter. But what is Holy Thursday? I found a carrot, so I put it in the ground.
Ready for action. There's one, set for stun. I need a weapon.
How's it? Hang loose. Welcome to Mongoose Maxwell. The channel.
Good, go ahead.
Doing my little Thursday bit. It's like the 14th of April. And it's almost tax time. See, it'll be April 15th, traditional tax time, and Good Friday on the same day, tomorrow. It's like Holy Week stuff. Speaking of Holy Week stuff, okay, here's the news. Okay, here's the vlog. I went to the doctor, and I got to have a procedure, so it's a couple months. Here's the news for the day. COVID cases climb, and the mayor has COVID. And that's the news. And part of the vlog is okay. The last time, well, I'll tell this story first, Mike. The last time I was going Hosanna, Hosanna on Palm Sunday, and that's part of the rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar, which goes back to like 1974 or something like that. And my sister told me just the other day, she's I gotta talk to you. I'm like, oh my god, what was it now? I gotta talk to you. Because it was on the phone and I'm driving my mom like chauffeur. I go, oh no, what's going on? And basically, her friend got 4 tickets to the theater. Because the theater is open. It's a local theater over here. They're pretty big for local theater. And they're putting on, guess what? Jesus Christ Superstar. She's like, do you want to go? I'm like, kind of weird coincidence, but yeah, it's a good show, good music. I like the music. Actually, I kind of know some of the music. So that would have been Palm Sunday one, but what would be Holy Thursday? Holy Thursday, Batman. We got Easter. Oh, and my phone just updated. Thank you for the update. Whoever. Ooh, it's scary. Oh, it's saying stuff in different languages. It's creeping me out. So, we know Easter broadly, many people know. And Good Friday, if you Christianity know anything about it, you might know Good Friday. Jesus is up there going, oh, they know not what they do. Good Friday. Jesus died for our sins, covers our sins. It's the thing, the pivot point of all of Christianity, pretty much. Well, that with the resurrection. So, which is Easter. Oh, what the heck is Holy Thursday, right? I see the calendars. What's Holy Thursday? It's like, holy smokes, here comes Easter. So, Holy Thursday is basically the Last Supper time. This is fun. The Last Supper time. See this one? From the painting of Leonardo da Vinci. I got this on the mainland in the 5 and dime old and new store. And when my father passed away, about, I don't know, 7 years, almost coming on 8 years ago. And he had the coffin, and they got him like, I'm just like the whole week, I'm just stunned. But I got the coffin, I noticed it. It had this plaque. This particular plaque was on it. It had decorative casket decoration plaques kind of thing. That's on it. It's like, oh my gosh. Now, Holy Thursday is the Last Supper day, pretty much. So, I decided let's do an old and new, but it's more like, I don't know, I guess we can do an old, but I don't think we got time. How about just rip it open? I don't know. Here, old and new, but we're just gonna, you can't just random on Holy Thursday. So we'll look at what the Bible says. What the Bible says. Atheists, you're welcome. This whole thing about atheism. Okay, my friend. I'm in contact him. I'm in good contact with him, but it's kind of spotty because he does stuff. And I'm just gonna say he's a card-carrying member of the temple of Satan. And I thought, what are you talking about? And he said stuff like, oh, we don't believe in the devil. They renounce anything that's spirituality. And of course, they're atheists. Because I think you can't have spirituality. You can't have the devil. You can't have that if you want to be completely atheist. Otherwise, the logic don't make sense. You don't believe in God, but yeah, we pray to the devil. That doesn't make sense. So in this quest, I've found that there are many forms of Satanism. Yes, we've just taken a hard right. Hard turn. What about the Lord's Supper? Well, first let's talk about Satanism. First, actually, I'm a little curious as to my OBS. Okay, I just wanted to show you. Yes, thank you. I just wanted to show you this. Okay, in the background, we have the mayor has COVID. There's that pesky new BA2 variant going through Hawaii. Time to go to the theater. Wear 2 masks. And just before that, I was going to show you this. It was stuff I was checking out on YouTube. But this lower part has gotten stuck. Prayer against every evil. That's actually a good one. Because I was looking at this other stuff. Like, okay, what does this stuff say? What's the difference between this and that and this? Because, some of them are just dumb. And stuff like that. And a ton of them were about the Book of Satan, right? The Satanic Bible, the LaVey thing. And so the Temple of Satan is actually pretty much based on the Church of Satan, which is Anton LaVey, which had the book he printed out because he was a carny and he wanted to make money. Pretty much, that's his story. He's against those church people, the hypocrites. So he makes this whole thing up, which is just against Christianity. It's anti-establishment Arianism. So they against Christianity. They so it's really kind of confusing. So they are basically atheist Satanists. No God. But then there's the theist Satanists who do believe in the devil, who do the spells, and who do. That's like I was like, I know there was something off because there's people that do that stuff. So what happens? What's the connection? Well, I'll tell you the connection. The connection is this. Satan. Hello, it says. Well, what is all of this? It's kind of like Spook 101 added into old and new here. Satan's the adversary. Satan's the devil. Satan would be the one against what Jesus does. I don't want to go the whole history kind of stuff, but I'm going after the evil force Satan, because that's the one in Christianity. In the Old Testament, you get the Job thing. He's like, well, let's test him. You haven't tested him. And he's like a really harsh prosecutor testing people. There's Adam and Eve with the snake thing. There's a Job thing. Then there's the Revelation thing with the dragon thing. But in the Jesus New Testament thing, books, scriptures, holy scriptures, that's the personification of Satan, the one you would fear if you're doing exorcisms and possessions and that stuff. Now that was the one I was focusing on, and that's the one that shows up during the Last Supper. That's right. So let's check it out. Okay, now notice something really strange. This is kind of weird. Okay, there's 4 synoptic gospels. They're synoptic because optic, they look, and there's syn, S-Y-N, they converge on the same stories. So there's 4 books telling the same story. What, Jesus' stuff. From where he came from, and then it gets kind of messy, and then there's it's more specific and more synoptic when it gets to the what they call pastoral, the death and resurrection stuff. And that Paul was all about the death and resurrection. Paul was just going around death and resurrection. You got to get this understood, the death and resurrection, and then that's all Paul. That's pretty all he did. The pastoral mystery, they call it. But all the different stories. Okay, so here's Matthew, has some stories, and with this Old Testament, the Old Testament pops up, but with the Last Supper, there is the betrayal by Judas. Okay, the Last Supper. The main takeaway is, this is my body. Eat it. So you got Jesus saying, eat it and drink it, because it's his actual body, not symbolism, and that's Catholic understanding. And even Catholics are like, really? It's not just a little cookie? Yeah, it's supposed to be actual, and there's all kinds of stuff. So that's called the institution of the Eucharist. That's the main takeaway in the Last Supper. And it's kind of sad because he knows he's going to get rooked. He knows he's going to be betrayed. And he's betrayed with Judas, his actions. Okay, stop that. It's trying to write in all different kind of languages. So you got, the Eucharist, which is basically every Catholic Mass. Here we go. It's like the Last Supper, and it's the big prayer to God, invocation, and Jesus is now in the presence of this Holy Mass. That's Catholicism. And then he goes, well, someone here is going to betray me. And they were like, oh, is it me? Is it me? There's that bit. And then Judas is like, oh, just get over yourself. And he runs out. But that version is Jesus Christ Superstar version, which is actually a pretty good version. It's Judas and Jesus Christ Superstar is really a developed character. Now, what does it say in the gospel? There's these gospels, these synoptic gospels. It doesn't have much in a couple of them, like Luke and they don't have all the story. So let's look at the Judas thing, the plot to kill Jesus. So they're going to get him, right? The festival of the unleavened bread Passover. So what's going on? They go to the biggest central temple of all of Judaism, Jerusalem, the main temple. This is the center. I mean, each city might have a temple, and it's the center of that little town or little village, but this is the main big show. Jerusalem, the temple, Solomon's, and they're in there. I mean, everyone gathers inside the walls of Jerusalem for the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, Passover. Once a year, all of them come over like a big pilgrimage. So it's crowded. So Jesus and his gang come over there for that festival, and also it's like the staging point and a pivotal point in the calendar. Passover. The lamb's blood is painted on the doors in ancient Egypt with the captive Hebrews under the Pharaoh, the cruel Pharaoh who's God on earth secularly. And Moses is, well, he won't listen, but this last curse, the firstborn of all shall die. Unless you paint, the firstborn of everyone will die. Firstborn son, all everyone. Unless you paint the sacrificial lamb blood on the lintels of the door, the posts of the door. Passover, and they waited inside the room as the angel of death killed, except for the people with the lamb's blood. Key point. So here they are at this big giant festival. It's like Woodstock, I guess, it's religious though. The chief priests and the scribes were looking away to put Jesus to death. They were afraid of the people. Because he already knocked over the money changer level stuff. Money changers, this is about prayer, not money, and he's kicking over tables. Now, granted, it was a whole giant area, and he might have kicked over a few tables, but they're like going, see that guy over there? We're going to get rid of him. Because it's big money for temple priests, which is the Sadducees and the Pharisees. Now, this is Luke 22. It says, then Satan entered into Judas, called Iscariot. Now, this wasn't a homo thing. It was a possession thing. Who was one of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers in the temple about how he might betray him to them. So basically, he's possessed by Satan, and he goes to the enemy high power guys and says, okay, how can we, get this guy? That is Luke. Actually, some fascinating stuff. I mean, believe or don't believe, this is some good stuff. You got Satanism going like, everything they say, the opposite. Because we don't like organized religion, and we don't like rules. We're free, and we're independent, because you're not going to have your rules on me. And that's pretty simplistic. Everything you got, just the opposite. This is the whole freaking shebang with the story, which is interesting because when Satan entered Judas, he goes to the chief priests and Pharisees. Now over here, on this one, this is the Matthew. Judas is going, he just plot. Here it is, the plot. 2 days Passover, then the chief priests and elders this is Matthew 26. Chief priests plotting, not during the festival, there may be a riot among the people. They're worried about the people having a riot because they're out there for the festival. Judas agrees to betray Jesus. No! Okay, I guess we're going overtime a little bit. One of the 12, who was called Judas Iscariot, went to the chiefs and priests and said, what will you give me if I betray him to you? And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. Judas Iscariot held the money bag for the 12 and Jesus. He was the treasurer of the club. And what did he do? He was constantly stealing. He was skimming the treasure bag. So basically, he's kind of a greedy, money-grubbing person. And he's so money-grubbing here that he'll throw Jesus under the bus for money because he's that greedy. Now, that brings us to the, possession thing and the, wow. If we do bad things to other people, does that open the door for Satan to enter our lives? Whether it's by the main Satan, or is it little demon workers that come in and actually can possess people, but that's very, very, very rare. But I don't know about nowadays. Does it open the door for that to come in? Because you look at the other one in Luke, it's Satan entered Judas, and then he went doing it. And over here, they just went out for the money. And then, there was sort of a tragic end with Judas. In the Matthew one is about the only one that says anything about it. Really, this is like the only one. Here's the betrayer. This is after. When he saw that he was condemned, so he was doing it for the money, not so much that he would get killed. But once he was put on the chopping block to be killed, Judas is like, no, wait, I didn't mean this. Here, take your money back. I don't want this. And he throws it on the temple floor in front of the guys that gave it to him. And he went out and hanged himself. And that's about all it says. It says, I have sinned betraying innocent blood, but they have said, what is that to us? That's your problem. See to it yourself. Throwing down the pieces of silver in the temple, he departed and went and hanged himself. But the chief priest, taking the pieces of silver, said, well, we can't put this back in the coffer because it's, blood money. And so after they conferred with one another, they used it to buy a potter's field as a place to bury foreigners. So the unwanted people who needed to be buried, we could stick them in the ground over there. So it was like a little grave of foreigners, unknown, unwanted people, like that kind of thing. That's where the 30 pieces of silver went to buy that. And it was said in the prophecy too. There's some people said the price. gave the potter's field as the Lord's committed them. So it's a prophet thing. I don't know. Is this all? Is this? Here's another Judas thing. So after the Last Supper, I mean, Judas kind of doesn't have much of a role here. He in one section he just leaves, and the disciples are like going, "Oh, he's just doing that. He's the treasurer. He probably went to go buy something." He just like left. It was kind of off to the side. It wasn't like, everybody look, it's him. He kind of referred to it, one of the 12 is going to betray me. And then in another account, Judas says, "Is it I?" And Jesus says, "Well, you said so." There's like only that. And then there's no mention after. In another account, they're going, "What is he doing?" And he leaves. He's just out of there. So that's all there is. There's not much to the Judas story. And that's the one who Satan entered to do the whole betrayal thing, to knock it off the whole role, because according to God, it was all planned from the start. It was God's plan from the start. And Jesus, the Son of God, was going, "Oh, my Father's will. Oh, do I have to do this? Yes, I have to. I have to drink the cup. I have to fulfill the mission in order for this plan to unfold," which is basically so the sin of Adam is reversed, and death, disease, sickness, and evil sin is overpowered by Jesus' death. It's the ransom for that, for us, if we believe. Now that's the Christian thing. But there's some other stuff in here that's kind of like, what the heck? So they go to he's like out there, and that's when they're out in the garden praying. They're like, "Oh, I can't stay awake." And so Judas comes back. Well, there is like mention of Judas coming back with some people, the soldiers and such, to arrest him. There's different versions of this too. So this is I think my main point here is there's different versions in the different, not versions, it's like some of it's included in only one of the 4 gospel books. So this one is they have, what he came out with clubs and swords. I was with you all the time. I was in the temple doing my little thingy. It's like all of a sudden you catch me in the middle of the night with clubs and swords in the dark. And Judas is like, and there's not that much of that too. There's like one account of the kiss thing. It's like, do you betray me with the kiss? Because it's so puffed up now, but it's not much part of the story. The main part of the story here is that the guards come. Judas is like, "Oh, there he is," and the guards like, "Get him." And there's this little bit of a scuffle, Peter and the sword. What? Listen to this part. Is this more like, "Had you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me as though I was a bandit? Day after day I was with you in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me, but let the scriptures be fulfilled." So it's like planned in advance, which alludes back to the God's plan. Judas was all part of God's plan. A certain young man was following him, wearing nothing but linen cloth. They caught hold of him, but he left the linen cloth and ran off naked. So one guy, this young man got away clean and naked. So it's like these weird little things going on. Like, what is going on here? So they had this more than just like the 12. "Judas, is it with a kiss that you betray the Son of Man?" That's in Luke. And then there's the John one. But John doesn't have that much going on. In the John one, there wasn't even the kiss to betray. In the John book, he just like, Jesus the soldiers come in the night, they're praying and everything. Oh, Jesus is praying. The other guy's like, so the soldiers come, and it's like that confrontation. And Jesus just stands up because he doesn't want them to get hurt, and they're all accounted for because it's part of a prophecy too. And he comes up and just says, "Who are you looking for?" Jesus comes right off and just like, "Who are you looking for?" "Jesus of Nazareth." "Well, I'm he." He's like, you got me. And he's like, "No," and they're kind of all confused, and they ask, "No, what are you talking about?" I just told you. That's me. at Jesus of Nazareth. I just told you. So there's a weird, different version than the from Judas. So, anyways, that was a little fun. Judas's thing, but the Satanism bit. He comes to foil the plan of God. But also, Judas is used because he's needed to get the act going on so Jesus can be arrested and killed and fulfill the other prophecy thing and fulfill the gigantic mission that's going into resurrection. Okay, like that. Happy Easter week. It's just Holy Thursday. What is that? Well, there's some of it right there. Anyways, have a good Holy Thursday. Bye. Aloha. Fresh aloha. Oh, Holy Thursday. Oh, where's the hole? Oh, there's the sunrise. Yay. Fresh aloha. Fresh air. Ah.